Revolutionary greetings. Haki Kweli Shakur. Back at you real quick. Part 2. Video to my last video. The imperialistic origins of religion. Had to come back real quick. Audio got messed up on the last video, so I had to do this over real quick. This is I'm gonna start where I left off at, which was the Roman imperial cult. So this Roman imperial cult sets up this structure and sets up what we know as today, that comes after what the Flavians was trying to do. This makes way for the Roman Catholic Church comes into being. And the Roman Catholic Church, when that came into being, this formed what we call today your Roman Catholic priesthood. And this Roman Catholic priesthood, when it transformed and became into the Roman Catholic priesthood, this Roman Catholic priesthood started incorporating what they would call, in the jurisdiction term, pagan worship and pagan symbols. See, when I'm dealing with Africa and Africans, I don't like to call what they were doing paganism, because paganism is a Eurocentric word that actually stands for something else, but they try to make it stand for like anybody who was worshiping the sun, or anybody who was observing nature and who didn't have a religion or things of a political institutionalized religion set up. Like anybody who was observing or worshiping nature or observing the sun was seen as paganism and pagans. See, these Roman Catholic priests took some of that and started incorporating that into how they dressed, how they looked, how they wore their clothes and things of that significant. And out of that comes your first pope. This is where the pope comes from during the Flavius dynasty rulership. The pope comes. This is where the pope derives from. African priesthoods. And they added aspects of the African priesthood along with that. So from after this transformation, through him and the control of Christianity and Judaism and etc., instead of a physical warfare, they transformed it into a what can I say, how can I put it, a psychological warfare, via the Roman Christianity and so forth. And around this time, this is where the Alexanders come from. The Alexander family of Egypt, Kemet. It was a family within Kemet in Egypt called the Alexanders. And I know I'm not talking about the Alexanders far as the Alexander Great lineage. This is way later, you know what I mean? Like, this is during the Flavian dynasty period in Egypt. They had the Alexanders, and the Alexanders was a family also that was put in place by the Roman Flavian Roman Empire. These cats were tax collectors, just like the Herods, the Herods. They were put in place like the Herods was put in place in Palestine. So the Alexanders was put in place to Egypt for the interest of the Roman the Roman Empire. So when they were put in place, again, puppet leadership to oversee their interests. And around this time, they had the Alexanders had a philosopher and a historian like Flavius Josephus in Egypt, and this cat name was Philo Alexander. And Philo Alexander was a European. How can I put it? He was a European Jew. He was a European Hebrew. He believed in the Hebraic forms of scriptures and religion. So around this time, when Philo Alexander and the Alexanders was in Egypt, Philo Alexander was also incorporating the Greek version of the Septuagint and the Hebraic scriptures and literature that he was and they was worshiping and reading and studying the scriptures that they had. He was already breeding this kind of Hebraic and Greek literatures together in Egypt. This is where the Christians in Egypt come from, far as under the Alexander family rulership, and the first Christians that come up out of there in the city of Alexandria. This is where these type of Christians come from. So under the Flavians, they were helping them do that. And Philo Alexander came up with the basics philosophy of Christianity that we see today. He was the one that put that in. He braided those together along with the Roman philosophy and versions of Christianity, and merged all these together, and he came up with the philosophy, which forms the basis philosophy of the Christianity that you see today. See, because it was three families. It was the Flavians, the Alexanders, and the Herods. The three-headed families who brought forth the imperialistic political religion that we know of today as Christianity, that's also connected to Judaism and the Catholic Church, which are all the same religion. You see what I'm saying? So this is the imperialistic way that they set this up. So also in Rome during this period came forth what we know, what they perceived and titled called the Flavian Christians. These were the first Roman Christian saints. And some of these first Christians and Roman saints were on the Flavian lineage. They part of the Flavian family. You had Flavia Domitilia, who was the first Christian saint. This was a woman, a female of the Flavian lineage. She was the first Christian saint. Then you had her son named Clement Flavius, who was the first Roman Catholic Pope, Christian Pope. Then you had their servants in the family by the name of Nerus, and Achilles, who were the first Roman Christians to have churches named after them. Then you had, this was during the Roman Christian diocese. Then you had the first Christian theologian to come up out of there called Titus, Flavius, Clemens. So you look at the names. All the names got like the basic same names in the family. Clement, this cat was of Alexandria. He was the first Christian pope in Alexandria of Egypt. He was the first to originate and incorporate the first Christian symbols, which was the anchor, the boat, the fish, the olive branch, the star. Just basically symbolisms that they stole from Kemet and Africans back then, but they incorporated into their brand of Christianity, which was their symbols. Then you had the 4th century Flavius Constantine. He was the first made-name Christian Roman emperor around the year 313 CE, aka AD. This was your first Roman appointed, made Christian emperor, Flavius Constantine. And you could just see how everything aligned up and how everything came into form to bring you the brand today that you know as Christianity, which is a political, imperialist religion system to keep oppressed people oppressed and keep their mind controlled and oppressed and keep them controlled. It's a form of controlism, which was this imperialistic religion called Christianity that they brought forth. And before I close it out, this is what I'm basically trying to tell y'all. Like, the Titus Flavius story is based around the Titus Flavius story is what you know today as the story far as Jesus Christ in the New Testament. This story is basically based around Titus Flavius and the Flavius family when they went to war with the rebels of the Palestine the Palestine rebels who was rebelling against the Roman Empire and the Flavius dynasty. In that period of time when they was warring against each other, Flavius Josephus wrote this story all around that prophecy. It was a prophecy. He turned that into a prophecy. You see what I'm saying? And when he turned this into a prophecy, it made it like it was real. You know what I mean? Like, it substantiated what Titus Flavius and the Flavian dynasty were trying to do to keep control. See, because the Jesus story and the Titus Flavius story are parallel. They still have some of the same aspects in their stories, but Flavius Josephus did it with a technique called typology. And what is typology is this type of technique that he used to hide. It's like what we say in a metaphoric language, like how we use, like some of these religions and systems. It's sort of like how we say they use metaphoric languages, like it's a deeply decoded meaning in the literature. So Flavius Josephus did the same thing with this work. He did it with the typology technique. He hid the Titus Flavius and the Flavius story in the Jesus story, because this Jesus story and Titus Flavius are parallel. And where did that come from? It comes from the Moses and the Jesus stories being parallel. He concepted off their stories being parallel, because if you look in the Old Testament and the New Testament, some of the Moses story has the same things in the Jesus story. They were basically doing the same type of things, these so-called two messiahs. And the Joseph of the Bible is nobody but Joseph. The Joseph in the Bible is Flavius Josephus. See, if you take the name Josephus, Josephus is the full term. Joseph is the nickname, the short name for Josephus. So the Joseph in the Old Testament and the Joseph in the New Testament is Flavius Josephus. He incorporated himself in the scriptures as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, he is the author of that. So, how can I put it? The whole Flavius dynasty story is incorporated in the New Testament. And before I close this out, as far as the Hebrew cats, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have no, man, that whole thing is fabricated. Like, that's dead now. You know what I mean? And because simple fact, the Septuagint Greek book is the oldest Bible, and these Arabic Masonic Jews translated from that Septuagint book what you know is, I don't even like to call it the Torah, but that's where the Torah came from. It came from the Septuagint Greek book, the oldest Bible. And when they translated that into the Hebrewic language, which Hebrew is a Greek language. I don't care what nobody says. It has been proven. It's fact. And when they translated that into that, that's when Josephus used that material to create what he did with his stories of history, the histories of Flavius Josephus, when he wrote about the wars between the Roman Empire and the rebel Messianic Jews and their warfare. All he did was take that and incorporate that in what we call today, which is your Bible, which the first Bibles that was printed had the stories, the histories of Josephus imprinted with that Bible. His name was in the first Bible. You see what I'm saying? So it's like all this was for political control, man. So it's Christianity and all those that align with Christianity, Judaism, and Catholicism is nothing but a political literature, political strategic literature to keep people controlled and oppressed, man. That's all that literature is, man. Like, just go do this research. Search Flavius Josephus. Search the Flavian dynasties. Search the Alexander families of Egypt and late Egypt and the Herods of the Palestine dynasties in Judea and Galilee at that time. These three families are what brought forth, which is not even a real person, the Jesus Christ character, and how they did all this stuff and formed this religion, imperialistic religion, what you call today is Christianity, man. That's all I can basically say, man. I hope you understand what I brought forth, and all you gotta do is go research this information, and you will see the footprints and foundation of the religion what you celebrate today is Christianity. 2,000 years of conquering and imperialistic tactics, man. That's basically what I had to bring forth, and I hope you get something out of it. And just remember, religions are imperialistic, political, systematic systems to keep the oppressed, and controlled, man. And it's the blueprint is out there, man. The information is out there. Go grab the information, man. My last audio got messed up, so you know what I mean. I had to redo this real quick to try to end it. Did the best I could do with it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and sign off right here, man. Just say, man, power to the people, man, that don't feel freedom. Research this information I just brought forth, man. Haki Kweli Shakur. See the Carlos say cook, man. I'm gonna sign off right here, man. 100.